And welcome back to the second half of tonight's Caribbean Link 6 Black Box Artist Talks, which gives you at home and those of us here at Atelier 89 in Aruba the chance to learn about contemporary artists and artworks from around the whole Caribbean. Our second speaker tonight is Vesuheli American. Vesuheli is a visual artist and creative writer from the island of Curacao. She obtained her BFA from the University of Arts Utrecht in the Netherlands, and she is also the founder of Carrying Narratives, a collective of young writers in Curacao. She's an alumna of the Instituto Buena Vista, another incredible art space based in Curacao. And and her multidisciplinary practice is largely focused on the individual and the collective understanding of identity. So take it away, Vesuheli.
Bonochi, bonochi. Okay. Hi, everyone. I wanted to correct something. I am the co-founder of Carrying Narratives, not the sole founder. I have two other amazing people who started this journey with me. So I wanted to just say that. And good night, everyone. How are you guys feeling? Good. Okay. So yeah, like Catherine said, I'm from the island of Curacao, and I am a visual artist and creative writer. And within my work, I study, research, question identity as an individual and also as a group. And I just have questions. I just have a lot of questions about a lot of things. And identity is one of them. And it's something that I had to go through. So I want to start my presentation with my exhibition work, my graduation work, my bad. Yes, okay. Everything is here. And I wanted to give you a heads up that my work is not in chronological order whatsoever because my mind works in every which way, and I have a lot of projects overlapping because I know I get inspired by my environment, so I just need to go where I need to go, but I still have the red line, which is identity. So let's get the hang of it. Okay. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. It's not my laptop. Okay. Yes. So I will start with my graduation work because here is where I started to really think about, or not think about it, but actually making a work that encompasses everything that I was going through and everything I was questioning at that time. This project, I made it in possibly 3 to 4 months, but it's been a whole 3 year journey because during my stay in the Netherlands studying, I started questioning a lot of things about my identity, and also I was going through culture shock, as I think everyone who leaves their island or any place and goes somewhere else. And so I just started asking around, having conversations about this, um, and interviewing people with their consent, obviously, not just like recording without them knowing. And I've been doing that to understand, but I was making work. So as I was understanding and I was making work, but I did not connect the two things, right? So during an internship I was doing at All You Can Art with IBB, they have like this project in the summer in the Netherlands, and I saw how they brought art to the neighborhoods to to care facilities, to schools. And I was like, why am I carrying all this burden alone? Like I've just have the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I'm just dealing with all these topics, and everyone else is making cubes, shapes, colorful things. So I said, okay, I'm gonna bring this conversation into the school. So I started by doing a performance where I would stand behind a person. So there's a chair and a mirror, and this person is sitting in my studio empty with just a chair and a mirror, and they're looking at themselves in the mirror. I'm standing behind them with my hand on their shoulders, and together we listen to conversations. And I would shift the weight I put on their shoulders based on what was being said, if I feel uncomfortable or I'm like, ugh, cringy. um, and then I realized that people were very uncomfortable with this performance. Certain people would just sit for less than a minute, and tell me, no, I felt like I lost my power, so I needed to get up. And I thought, this is interesting. But then I wanted to take away the voices and make it so that everyone can read without judgment, because I think my work should just exist, without judgment, without listening and thinking it's a certain person. And I also wanted to give the people some anonymity, I guess. So I decided to make this text installation. So I'm gonna show a bit. So in here we have conversations of different things. We have talks about art. Even someone was saying that they did not understand at a certain point in their lives why we were learning Papiamento at school, because eventually we will go abroad and study, and we are the only three islands that speak Papiamento. So why? Why are we doing this? And obviously this person does not think that's that way anymore, but at a certain time in their lives, like I shared a poem yesterday about the fact that we are so disconnected, we only looking at going and leaving, and we don't appreciate what we have. And I think this is one of those situations, because Papiamento is such a beautiful language. So I mean, why would you not want to learn it? But yeah. So I have conversations of a lot of things on the wall. So I'm gonna show a short version of it. It's like 12 to 13 minutes. And in this video, I kind of take the general idea of everything that is going on in all these different conversations, which is the need to adapt, the need to change yourself, because that is what you hear constantly. Like, you should do normal, which is a thing that Dutch people say a lot, which is act normal, be normal, and like, what is normal? But anyways, I also specifically filmed this. So I was looking up and the camera was looking down on me, and I also put it on the floor so that people can people will have to look down on me, because I feel like if you are telling me to be normal, to adapt, then you don't think I'm the same as you. I need to become something else so I can be like you. So with this work, I try to force them to look down on me. Um, so this is a picture before I added the video installations, because it was a whole process. Um, and then I have a second performative piece, which is called Loop. These are short versions of everything. Do we have sound? Yeah, okay. So this is me putting my head in a bucket of water, and in the other one, I put my head in a bucket of flour. And with this, I'm also dealing with this same narrative of we are under constant pressure, We're just under pressure and we come up for air just to go again under pressure. So I wanted to show that it just reflects everything that I discovered during all these conversations with people. So yeah, some images of this work. And eventually, because this was a whole process, I had my studio was just this wall, this text installation, so people can come in, go out, and people would have very weird reactions to it. Like I have one guy there and then tell me, "You really don't like white people, right?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, I read your. How many did you read?" He said, "Like I think two or three." I'm like, "Read at least five, maybe 10, and then you make up your mind." I've had teachers read something and feel very offended by it, and because there's a text in there that says that I would not want to worsen my next generations by um, having a kid with someone who is darker than me. And this teacher read this and she was like, how can you put something like that? White people would not say something like that. And I was like, lady, this is not a white person. Calm down. Calm down. And so I've had all these reactions, and people actually they wanted me to take this down. Like the teachers were like telling me, this is not your best work. Compared to everything you've made, this is not your best work. I would consider doing something else. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna keep this. I feel like this is what I need to say right now. So I just made this work for it to exist. And with this live performance, I was telling them, I reverse the idea of being civilized because they have a thing about being beschaafd, which is civilized. And regarding colonialism too, beschaafd is something such a big thing that they worry about. So I reversed it and I made a manual on how to be in between. And it says, one, be open for both sides, wees beschaafd. Don't be too emotional, wees beschaafd. Three, it's not about you. Analyze first, then judge, because you are going to judge anyways. By all, wees beschaafd. And we were repeating this text while walking, and we repeated it in 4 different languages: in Papiamento, Dutch, English, and Sranantongo, because the guy who worked with me is half Surinamese, and they also feel the same way. So we said, like, why not? Let's add another language to it. And we would walk around, and eventually we would hit each other because obviously we cannot see because we have a bucket on. And we would hit each other. And at that moment, we will click the mugs. So we have a row of mugs on the floor, and we pick one up and we start walking. And then eventually we meet each other and then we click. And it's this idea again of the same pressure, the same walking on shells, and not feeling comfortable, and sometimes being passive, sometimes being aggressive about things. So sometimes we would be very aggressive with it, and sometimes we would be very passive with it. And this is just all based on feeling, like what we were feeling at the moment. I was like, yeah, let's smash this. And sometimes I would be like, no, I'm just standing here and let him hit me, because I think that is also sometimes we need to choose our battles. That is something I really learned in the Netherlands. Like, you cannot complain about everything, you cannot have a fight about everything. You need to choose your battles. So, this is a representation of that. So, bear with me. We're going to go video slide. Okay. So then we go, yeah, you have some kind of perspective on. And also another thing that we did was, after the performance, so the performance doesn't end when we have all the marks broken. We go into another space, we grab a broom, we come and we clean up and we put everything to the side. I also feel like it's always there, like you move it, we continue with our lives and it happens again. So we did this performance, I think maybe 6 times. So then there was a accumulation of um yeah, pieces of ceramic on the floor. Okay, so after graduation, yes. technical difficulties. Sound is here. Should I sing for you while we wait? Okay, we're ready. Okay. So after graduation, I returned to Curacao. I could not wait to escape the Netherlands. I think it's a great place, but for me, it was not the thing, at that moment. So I was like, yes, I'm coming back home. I don't care what I'm going to do. I just come back home, reconnect, be with my family. And like I told you, the whole history about the graduation process, it was, um, to put it in a very broad term, a bit traumatic. So I needed to get closure. So I decided to ask myself, how do I get closure? And I realized it's something quite easy. So I'm going to show you a short video again. So to me, how you get closure is step one, open your button. Step two, open your zipper. Step three, breathe. That's it. Release. You know? Um, that's it. It's very easy. Easier said than done, I know. But it worked for me. I realized that it's just let it go, And this work is actually part of something I'm still working on. Like I said, I have a lot of projects at the same time. And I'm working on a project called Macambia, which translates to I changed. And it's a play also on the word Macambia, which is touchifying, which is something that's very badly seen in the islands. And maybe I'm speaking. Yes, I see people nodding. Okay, so I think it's the islands then. I'm playing with this idea because I changed. I came back and everything continued without me. And I came back and everything is the same. But I changed, I listen sometimes, I listen to my friends talk and I'm like, you know but it's me, it's not them. So yeah, with this project, I'm considering a whole production of different performances and texts, maybe poetry about, the fact that I changed. So actually I have 5 stages, but I just chose this one as the one I needed at that moment, but I will still use all the 5 stages in the actual Macambia work. So then I went on to a next phase, which was Miss Dependencia. So Miss Dependence. Because I left and I was on my own, and then I came back and I have to live again with my mother. Nothing bad with my mother. She's a lovely, lovely lady. I love her so much. But just the difference of being alone and suddenly living with someone again. Um, and and I was also thinking about myself, what I saw, because at the time we were indebted. I can't tell you what we were indebted for. It happens a lot. So, and they were asking for money, and we had um, these split ideas of what should happen. For example, like, yeah, but they need to solve their problems by themselves. Like, why do we need them? And the Curaçaoan things like, yeah, no, but they should help us because they are our mother, you know? And I'm in between in the idea of like, we should try to help ourselves. And if it's very, very difficult and we don't have any other possibilities, then we could go, you know? So I was looking at myself and also looking at my country, being Miss Dependencia, just sitting there and waiting for stuff to happen, because I also felt like I was getting into this kind of comfort zone. And this is a reminder for me to don't be in your comfort zone. And maybe a wake up call for my own country to say, like, hey, guys, we should not stay in this swinging chair going back and forth in one place, but maybe let's try to figure out shit out ourselves. And then take this fucking candy, shove it down your throat happened. So this is based on a conversation I had with my mentor. I think I'm not a student anymore, but I think he will forever be Tirso Marta. And um, we were talking about this idea of political correctness and just just all the time walking on eggshells, and suddenly there's different terms for everything, and white privilege was being overused, and everyone was talking about racism and making it um, I mean, racism is a thing. I'm not saying it's not a thing, but using it in certain ways that maybe it should not be used. And I felt like they're just shoving stuff down our throats. So I made this video. And what he said was that it's almost like it's emitting like orgasmic feeling when they say it, like they enjoy it, like it's like very exciting to use all these terms. Yeah, it's a very short version because the original one is like 4 minutes and something. I wish I could show you a longer version, but time wise, we need to, you know. Um, but yeah, sometimes stuff happens, and I work a lot based on conversations on words. Like words do something to me, like some people see something and they're like, I know what I want to do. But I am someone who hears something or see a word or see a sentence, and I'm like, I know this is pure inspiration for me. And then going back into the idea of not feeling at home in a way because everything moved on without me, and I felt like I changed. I realized that I was very lost and disconnected with everything. And I went through this work I kind of worked out this feeling, and I became okay. It's like, yeah, it's fine to be lost. It's a good thing, and you can only find something. Um, and it's called Dualdo, Wanderer, because I just wander through life. And this work started with me just feeling very disconnected. Okay, I'm gonna go to the city. I'm just gonna film whatever what I see. And then I came home, and then I wrote this free writing. So free writing is just when you write without thinking, without worrying with grammar or anything. So it says squares, only windows and frames, building on top of building on top of building, with a huge pipe on top of it. Me, I wonder. Looking around doesn't seem to be enough. Squares, windows and frames, building on top of building on top of building, taking my breath away. I need a pipe, a huge pipe. Mi mystery dos tres pipa. Dos tres pipa with smoke coming out of it. Un pia dilanti, ring. Kuyengana di kakas. But not as in a house. Not a house, nor a building, nor a window or a frame. Longing for more. More than squares upon building upon window frames. Because I can feel the pressure, 1,000 pounds of concrete on me, around me. So this was a lot of observations of what was happening around me. I used to live um, at a place where you could see the pipes of the refinery, the former refinery, because I think it's not working right now. Yeah. So that is what where the pipe comes in. And I just decided after starting editing the first video that I needed to make two more. So I walked the distance from my house to my work, or at least getting the bus to go to my work. Um, so I filmed that walk, and somehow it all connected. But this was very much an experimental piece because I was also working a lot with the idea of squares and buildings and windows. And within the editing, I was also playing with this idea of the frame of the box. I mean the square. And then we get to zebra debate, which is also it also happened out of a conversation. Um, so I enjoy debates. Maybe I'm weird. I don't know, but I enjoy it. Again, I love conversation. I love different perspectives, and I was watching the South African debate, and they were talking about the term zebra debate, and this is about speak about the when you speak about racism that you only black people and white people, because in South Africa you have a third group which is the colored people, and but colored people are like mixed and we would consider them black, but in South Africa they are colored. So a conversation without the colored people is called the zebra debate. um, I saw it, I was like, oh, this 6 months later, I did not know what to do with it, but I said I need to just write it down. And then 6 months later, I have a conversation with a few colleagues about the Black Lives Matter protest in 2021. And yeah, they were going ham on it. And I was like, maybe I should just stay quiet. But then I told myself, you know what? You cannot always have people who think the same way as you. So maybe I should just say something. So the only thing I said was the situation is different. So they were talking about the Netherlands and America, and I just said the situation is different, but somehow they heard somewhere is worse than the other. Don't know how. I said different. I said it's nuanced, not black and white, and they took it and run with it. Um, and it became very much, I felt like a situation of victimhood, you know? And then it made me think about when I was in the Netherlands, I also had this period where thinking about this because suddenly in Curacao, I was a person. I did not think that much about color. And then when I went to Netherlands, suddenly I was thinking about color and questioning if people are treating me a certain way because of my color or not. So I questioned, did I also fall into this victim? And I created this character, the zebra. So it's faced with a very difficult question. So I think this is not even about being black, white, like it's not about race. I just think in general, this character for me represents the idea of letting someone else tell you who you are, letting someone else make you question what you are, because the zebra is a zebra with two colored stripes, and it lived its life just like that. And suddenly they're asking him like, oh, what colors are your stripes? Like, does it matter? Um, so then I created the zebra. Funny story is that I went through this through the two lockdowns that we had. So in the first lockdown, I made the hat, and in the second lockdown, I finally just did a performance because I wanted to do something, but obviously Corona, and I was waiting and I was thinking, and then the second lockdown came, and I had to give a performance workshop to the students of IBB because I used to work there. And I said, let's all make different characters of what we are going through and let's film a performance, And then I had to do my share, I cannot tell them do it and I don't do it. So in this performance, I then go further into questioning this idea that people people tell you something and you choose to believe them or not, and I use this idea of a meditation because I think meditation is something that we play for ourselves, and we try to find this Zen moment and we try to connect. So imagine if you have a meditation that is telling you everything that's bad, you know? So I'm gonna show a little piece of it. Today we will practice acceptance. Please find a comfortable position, sitting in a way where you can relax. And when you exhale, know that everything you did today was wrong. And everything society tells you in the future really matters. Know that even though life is hard, you are doing your very best. It is just not enough. So yeah, I think it would be bad if you have that that kind of affirmations every day. But I feel like sometimes we do that to ourselves. Um, after that, so this one is still ongoing project. And then I'm gonna move on to the last project that I'm going to share with you guys today is called Mancha, which means stained. And it has, so I already did phase one from 2019 to 2021, which is everything that is in this blog right now that I'm going to share with you. And right now I'm working on phase two and I split them in phases because I feel like best after I tell you, you will understand. But I feel like this is done, it's closed, and I need to go to the next step now. I made these works in a span of 2 years, and I got the opportunity to make a blog, and I decided to use this to restructure everything and reflect and make it clear for myself what is the next step. And the next step is a short film that I'm working towards. Um, so in this blog, I kind of split it in three chapters with that woman, sin, and society. Mujer en busca de woman in search of perfection, and mujer mancha, stained woman. I will start with part one, where it all started, which is with a few pictures that my friend sent me of us at the beach when we were. As you can see, in each of the pictures, I with a towel, and these are only three of them, and they were like 15 or something. And I was wearing a short and I was wearing a two-piece, but it was covering everything. So I don't understand why I was covering myself. And I was looking through these pictures and I was like, oh damn, okay. And I said, I really didn't like myself at that time. I was not comfortable in my own skin. And then I said, I still am not comfortable in my own skin. So I need to do something about it. And most of the times through my heel, I think you've noticed that from the other works. So in this whole process, I started a journey of self-love. So I was figuring out for myself why am I this way, what happened that made me that I was caring so much for other people, not caring as much for myself. um so After having all these feelings, I was very angry at pictures and thinking like, wow, why was I like, I saw everyone was so happy, so spontaneous, so free, and I was just like como se diz, suppressed, like so like tight, and I made this work as an outburst because I was just so angry and sad, and while I was making this, I created this mantra for myself. I was saying, I am my own. Mita di me. And that's why on this fabric here I have di me, di me, di me. So I was just telling myself, I'm my own, I'm my own, I'm my own. And then afterwards, I started I continue to think about these things. And by the way, this blog is also not in chronological order. But for the sake of making sense of it for the film, I rearranged them. So I wrote this piece, Minta e nota molestiami. I don't see it, so it doesn't bother me. And this one talks about my eyebrows because right now they look okay, but I have a lot of eyebrows and they're very curly. And people used to tell me all the time, like, you should do something with your eyebrows. You should do something with the eyebrows. And my answer every time was, I don't see it, so it doesn't bother me. Does it bother you? And I think that is a very secure thing to say from a person, you know? But then why was I covering myself with a towel? So I kind of thought of myself as this very insecure, secure woman in a way. So in that text, I questioned that. I also did interviews with a lot of women. And one of the things that came out of one of these conversations that was very interesting was that this girl, she was 19 at the time, she was telling me that um, so the fact that she did good was she did not have ownership over that. Because, for example, if she studies for an exam and does it good and get good grades, she would thank God as the first thing, you know? And when she feels sad or depressed, and then people tell her, the devil is speaking in your ear. You're not feeling that. It's just the devil speaking in your ear. So she said, okay, so good is not me, bad is not me. I I don't have ownership over anything. I don't have responsibility over anything, you know, and that is something that made me think, you know. So I wrote What a Journey, and in this I question why I was such a perfectionist, and I realized that religion had some part to do with it. I was never like the family that goes to church every week, but I was a child that loved to read, and I had these Bible. So they had like these books with Bible stories, like stories about Jesus in it, and I would love to read them. And I think somehow I built this kind of idea of you need to be like Jesus, you need to turn the other cheek, you need to be humble, give and not ask anything in return. And somehow I guess that stayed with me. And I had a conversation with my mom about this. Like, yeah, I feel like I always need to be good. And my mom was like, yeah, no, I don't know why you felt like that way. I never forced you to do anything. So I have to forward, like fast forward. This is a work about questioning religion, the hierarchy within religion. Why do we need a priest to connect with God? We can connect ourselves. I never understood that. Why do they say what we need to do or not? And I created this persona that somehow is this idea of hypocrisy, um, that we think that we are, like I said, high and mighty, and we look at other people's sins, but we also have sins. We are not perfect, you know. And I feel like in religious spaces, most of the times people tend to judge. And I'm like, but who are you to judge? You know, you're saying Jesus that told us not to judge, and you are judging anyway. So yeah, I questioned that, and it came from this free writing. I'm just gonna read just a tiny piece of it. Eta perde color, blanco nota solamente blanco mas, asumiendo que blanco ta pureza, conta possible que porta por guardo manchar tan fácilmente. It's not black, it's not, it loses colors. It is not only white. No, white is not white anymore. Why is it that it can be stained so easily? And that is the name of the work, assuming that white is purity. Oops. Go back. Okay. So I started kind of thinking of the old me and a new me through this process. And I made this installation for a month where I kept changing stuff from position and trying to have a conversation between these two me's and this idea of perfection. Um, and I started questioning also about salt, because salt is a purifier, salt is a symbol of perfection. So I started thinking about drinking salt, cleaning with salt, walking with salt, just sketches, ideas I wanted to try out. And then I did a funeral for my old self. And in this work, it's also an audio piece, and in this piece, I cry and transition into laughter, because for me, that since my grandmother passed away, has a different meaning. I feel like it's more like a rebirth, because I was kind of sad and also happy because she was sick and she was on the bed all the day, and she was someone who was very alive, very like cleaning, making food, um taking care of her plants. So I saw that that was like not the person she would like to be, so to me it's a rebirth, because I think now she's dancing somewhere, having her best life. So that's why I did the crying and then transition into laughter. And I wanted to close with this poem, but I cannot read it because I think my time is up. Read it.
Thank you so much, Vesuheli. Do we have questions from the audience?
Haha, Reno, always.
What's up?
What's up?
So, first of all, I really enjoy hearing you speak because you have a very scientific research kind of approach. And like, I love seeing your notes and the way that you really um, analyze your subjects before you start to make work. And I think that there's a relationship between the finished product of your work and the research process, because the research process to me allows your work to be simplified when it's presented.
Mhm.
But for example, can you go back to the zebra one?
The animation or
The
the
the performative one, yeah. Is so for me, I think I enjoy this one the most because I love how it's whimsical, but yet also poignant. And I don't know. I just wanted to hear a little bit more I heard the idea kind of came to you from the zebra thing, and then also the debates with the Black Lives Matter stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just kind of wanted to know, as a mixed race person
Mhm.
myself, like, I really identify with this sort of imagery. So I just want to know more context as to where you think you might take this project.
Okay, so the next step, I already have it planned out, is to have this kind of first, I want to make a new version of it, same text, so the same meditation piece, but having it float and having images in the back, because the idea that stuff it's nuanced, and having contradicting images in the back, because like for example, one of the things that really annoyed me about the conversation is that we have certain opportunities and you're acting like um we all can go study in the, so that is one thing that it's positive, so we should not only look at the bad things, we can look also at the good things. So I want to contrast that and showing the nuance of it, so yeah, that would be the next step. And I also want to do live performance, so interactive performances with it. Yeah, that's why I still have the hat.
Cool.
Thank you so much for your performance and for sharing your life with us.
Mhm.
And I really resonate with a lot that you said, being also someone from Curacao that went to Holland, even though I do have a Dutch dad, so I had some roots there. Um, yeah, very like dark night of the soul type of time in my life, and um, I'm really grateful, especially that you also touched on the religion part, which is something that I've been dealing with as well where we have this kind of like this conditioning around what it means to connect to God. And I love that you touched upon the part that that's something that's super personal and that's something that's within us.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing outside of us can overpower our own inner source. You know, things outside of us can reaffirm, contribute, and help us reconnect to our truth. But I love that you touched upon that, developing that very personal relationship with divinity, with God, with the universe, with love. So thank you for your vulnerability. I really loved it.
Thank you. In the back.
Yes. I'm not sure I have a question, but probably just a few comments. I enjoyed both presentation, because it's good to hear when you come here thinking you see art and hear about art, and what you also actually hear is someone's life, their examinations of themselves, and maybe not even the answers that they come to, but the process that they go through in discovering themselves and discovering the history and discovering different things, and also being open to hear other, other views and how other people approach things as well. And the exposition that you had with that wall of words, of it's almost, at least I looked at it as how people walk through a world surrounded by pictures, but also surrounded by words, and how words affect us and how we interact with words as well. And the part when you came back to the island and you saw pictures and kind of went back and seeing yourself in younger, and also go back to kind of maybe introspective and looking at why did I feel that way and how was that, and to have that as you stated in the beginning, that inquisitive mind. You have questions, and it puts a person, your artist put in persons to recognize certain things in themselves, maybe also to question themselves, and also to feel pulled in by it, even if they may misconstrue certain things, and maybe not see the both sides of the things, but it certainly brings about emotions, and it brings about hopefully more thoughts as well. And it brought a lot of things loose at me, because looking back at the picture, I remember looking back at the picture as well, when I was in the first grade, and always like being a forever on a diet, and then looking back in the picture and I said, girl, you were skinny. So,
And totally, that,
you,
that is also something that happened to me. I was like, I was skinny.
it's like, what was, if I could go back. And so even was the thinking, and you said you had that, went to the funeral, I was kind of thinking, what if you go back to through your art and go back, it's like, say, did I really die? Did I really, or was just a part? But yeah, that could be changed as well.
Yeah. No,
So-
I died.
Yeah.
I'm done with that. I'm not going back.
But yeah, it's nice to see that art, the type of art that you guys are doing is exposing people to themselves, helping them to their process, helping them to recognize things, and to open new avenues for everybody around you. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have another question for Vesuheli?
Thank you so much, Visueli, for sharing. There's something that I came to my mind that I thought, oh, maybe I can elaborate this into a question. At least it wants to become a question. The last work, well, the work where you were showing this rebirthing procedure or the positivism of dying made me think about something that is becoming quite trendy now, or is a phenomena. Like you have all of these spiritual coaches on Instagram now, and one of them is like that doulas. So you have birth doulas, and you have also like that doulas. And one of the things that I felt like living here in Aruba, a place really saturated by Catholicism, is this idea that you live, you die, and you will be judged by a God. And based upon that judgment, you'll either burn in hell or you go to heaven. And slowly but surely, hopefully at least, an awakening procedure starts, we're like, no, wait, we're orbiting around, a sun. There's so many cyclical processes actually in the environment that I live, and I'm continuously transforming into possibly, something that is more aware of all the possibilities that I can become. So I wanted to see it like, because your work is so much about identity, how do you feel like, and you're so much about process, documenting yourself, keeping track of like how the project is speaking to you, like you're in conversation with this state of becoming. How do you think like that um process of like continuously researching and never ending a project can define you as an artist? Or like how do you position yourself in that kind of, I don't know
I
if it became
think
a question, but more like an incentive at least.
yeah. I think of my work and my process as something circular. So I feel like I'm always coming back. I'm going, and I do, and suddenly every then I see, oh, I'm back at the beginning of what, and literally that is what is happening right now too at ateliers. That I went back to the moment with the picture, and what was it I was feeling? Shame. So now I'm dealing with the uncovering, because that there I was covering, and now I'm uncovering, so I just feel like it's just going like this, and I feel like it's just an endless like spiral, just going down, coming back, going down, coming back, because I feel like it's yeah, life, if you're someone who questions a lot, life is just going and coming back and going and coming back, so like a boomerang, I guess. Yeah.
And do you feel like, because one of the things I was telling my students,
Mm.
I was doing like a summer camp and I was like showing these land artists because I wanted us to interact with the earth.
Mhm.
And I showed the spiral jetty. And I was like, oh, and one of the cool things is that you can see it from Google, how do you say?
The satellite.
Google's the satellite,
Yeah.
yeah. And one of the nice things about, yeah, I was telling them like circles are really important. I believe the shape itself is a spiral going down to a state of profoundness and
Mhm.
even kind of one with the infinite.
Mhm.
Like this state of profoundness, how do you see it kind of like slowly revealing itself in your work?
I don't know if it's a state of profoundness, because I feel like we can never ever know everything. So I just, like I said with the Dualdo thing, I just accept that I'm lost. And it's okay to be lost and just be questioning all the time. So that is where I am. I don't ever think that I will ever know everything about myself, let alone about life or earth or human beings, so I'm just questioning, just living, just looking around, observing, and maybe through my art I can make other people feel, and make other people think.
So nice.
Yeah.
One of the things that I also notice is that we're always in this state of remembering,
Mhm.
like, oh, damn, like, oh, okay, yeah, of course. It's
Mhm.
like this hide and seek that we're continuously playing with ourselves. So, anyways, so much to touch upon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Besuheli. Thank you, Justin, both of our wonderful speakers tonight. And please join us again here in Aruba at Atelier 89 or live on the Caribbean Linked Facebook page tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Thank you.